fill in my head. So after that tournament, I'm locked in. I'm like, bro, there's no way that I'm gonna put a team into this. There's no way I'm gonna make a league to beat everybody. It's gonna be pointless. The comp's gonna be pointless. It's gonna be just the same thing, but I'm running it. It's gonna be a headache.
Right.
So then I was like, okay. So I got to sleep on it for a few days, and I was like brainstorming ideas. I was like, okay, if I disband everybody, okay, what could happen? Like, and I was like, give these players to these different teams. Some of these teams, they form. I know these guys are not gonna play for them, So then I was just like, okay, maybe I could get rid of that, and possibly do something that no one has done yet. Even host a draft, So why don't I take the top 8 players in town, right, and host a draft?
So then, are they the captains then? Or?
They're the captains.
Bro, that's what I like.
So I was like, okay. And then I put the entire state into a tryout. So we'll have a 4-hour tryout, right? All the best hoopers show up, right? You get a fair chance to make it, right? $2 to enter, $2, right? You get to go hoop and play it for the 8 captains, right?
Right.
Easy as that.
So then who's so name your 8 captains then.
So at the time, it was...
Oh, and it's changed then, right?
It changes each year.
Okay.
So at the time, it was Zebo, Melvin, DJ, Lorenzo. So DJ, Melvin, right? Zebo, Lorenzo, Nerdine, PG, Jay, and Donovan. So I had lost 2 guys out of that 8 because they had to leave.
Right.
Zoe and Jay, they both played at MSU and they graduated, so they ended up moving back home. Their lease was up, so they had to they couldn't just be here.
Right.
And sign another year. And they're both going overseas, so sadly they had to leave a lot earlier than expected.
Right.
So we have our draft, right? The 8 captains draft up, right? And we before my 2 players leave, they draft. So we downsized and went even deeper. So we had 8 solid teams, but then those 2 teams that left, we started adding those elite players that they had onto these other 6 teams that boost the quality of those teams. So now, instead of 8 spread out, pretty solid teams with 2 stars each, each team had a captain, then they had a right-hand man, and then they had a third option. And then the rest of the other guys were role players. So it was going to be really fun seeing a captain lead this bunch, So we lose 2 teams. That's 16 players available. So we took those 16 players and then dumped them on top of the 6 teams that's remaining. And then it ended up boosting the quality of those teams. So coming in, there was a lot of stacked teams coming in. It had never been done before. That level, that many teams.
So you never replaced the 2 captains that left?
I never replaced the 2 captains that left.
Okay. This is still an 8 elimination, 8 team.
Yeah, so it's still 8 teams, okay. Right? So originally, right, it was going to be a smaller league, just try it out for a month, see how people like it. But I was like, you know what, bro? Why would I put my, effort into something if I'm not going to give it my all?
Right.
So I was just like, you know what? We're going to go full blown with it, Logos, elite jerseys, elite film, everything, the whole show. So now, guys aren't just going to come in their own jerseys. I'm giving guys, this is before I even make the jungle and everything, right? So the idea, the concept of the jungle is I think that it's a life of its own. So when you're hooping, right, against somebody else, right, and you're playing an officiated tournament, right, you guys both got accolades. The way you guys talk, the way you guys move is gonna show. Oh, and then if you guys go at it, someone's gonna say, hey, I played this and this and this and that, yada 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 yada, and then they kind of leave kind of a mark of oh, I have one up on you, and you can't really shut them back up. So I wanted to just get rid of that. I wanted to make an environment, right, where none of your accolades matter, where you come from doesn't matter, who you are, what you do doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you work a 9 to 5. It doesn't matter if you're coming fresh off the NBA, right? Me and you are gonna match up in this environment, or we're gonna go at it. No accolades, no nothing. The dog is gonna come out. So I was like, oh, okay. So dogs, no. I was like, oh, in the jungle, only the best animal comes out.
Right.
So I was like, in the middle of the jungle, right, when 2, beasts are going at it, right, if you got a jaguar and let's say an anaconda, right? The best is gonna win that fight, you know. And that's what I was like. Okay, let me take another step. Let's make these team names, you know, memorable team names. So like I thought that it was nice to give them like a unique color and the name and then match it, kind of like a alliteration, I think, like Opal Orca, you know, Black Boa.
Oh dang,
yeah.
that's
So
tough,
like
though.
I wanted these teams to like these names to stay in people's heads, you know,
Right.
and like you know just being able to throw up the double O's for Opal Orca, or like you know being able to throw up the double V's for Violet Vamps, you know.
Yeah.
So like just like I want to give these teams like more personality,
yeah.
and root them in something that they will want to compete for. You already got elite guys stacked up, right? Now the next step is they have to have pride when they wear that jersey. So that's what it really came down to. So now this is when I start kind of dealing with the problems of like, you know, finding refs, finding.
Hold on, let me.
Is it recording? You pause it? Okay.
All right, bro. But yeah, wait. Start from where you left off, bro. Then you was talking about. All right, you said Opal Orcas.
So now we have the team names, we have the personalities. Now I'm putting the jerseys together, and then now the gym finding. So now I've laid out the groundwork. We hosted the draft. I'm now having to do the labor, the hard labor that requires sleep, and not, you know, sleepless nights now. So I'm like out here probably like 4 hours a day, just brainstorming, thinking, you know, designing the jerseys, designing the colorways, deciding like the look, getting the logos out. You know, I'm glad my brother Isham, he's an amazing graphic designer. He made the logos for me, and that was just the rest. It made so much things a lot more easier. And I had to learn graphic design myself, and so I could edit things and do all that stuff. And now what ends up happening is I gotta find a gym. All this has happened. I haven't found a gym yet. We did all that extra stuff, right? And I haven't found a gym. Yes, I did do it at Empire, but I wasn't like, it was just a one-day rental. I just wanted to see how it was. I ended up liking the gym. So like, I didn't want to do it at Courts. I didn't want to do it at Wellness. I didn't want to do it at the Rec. I wanted it at somewhere new that nobody has touched. You know, like these three facilities, they set the tone for the caliber of players and the environment, how hard you play and how bad you want it. You know, and it's just nobody really cares. You know, so what I wanted to do was, since my thing's only gonna be once a year, right? I wanted to make sure guys actually cared, like that they were ready. They start getting it, you know, getting in shape 3 months in advance, ready, you know, on go.
So I ain't gonna lie, I'm hyped too. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I actually want to play now, but go ahead.
So now I talk to the owners of the Empire, you know, we work out a deal, and they're able to give me the hours that I want. So now the hours that I want, I don't know what day to put it on. So I'm over here thinking like, okay, Monday, Tuesday, like what day do I want it on, right? So I'm just like skimming through the whole week. I'm like, bro, like I don't want just grown men coming here. I want like if here and there people, because like this is year 2 in it, right? What year 2 is right now is how I envisioned my first year to start off. Like that's kind of how I prepared for it. But it was a demo run.
Right.
It was way more than I could even handle.
Right.
So
you talking about the first year, right?
The first year was, you know, it was a huge demo run. So like it wasn't an official year, but it was just like a test run. And then now this year, even though it's year 2, it's the first official year that like I'm seasoned. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing this. Everything last year I was doing on the fly,
right.
And I didn't have the staff. So I had realized, right, after I got the gym, I got everything started up, right? I realized I didn't have the staff power or the support to run it. Like I needed 15 plus employees, and I was doing the job of 15 plus employees. You know, I'm on a camera, I'm on a scoreboard. I'm like trying to find refs every night. Like it was crazy. Thank God that like, you know, I had 3 refs that were very loyal to me, and that was the biggest blessing that I'd ever received. You know, they made my job so much easier, because that was a crazy headache in itself. But like leading up to opening night now, okay, everything is set. I got everything all set now. It's collecting the fees. You know, we had guys since it's coming from me, it's not an official business, you know. It was very hard to get guys to trust me with the original starting point was $150. Nobody ever paid $150, okay?
Per person, right?
Huh?
Per person?
Per person. Nobody ever paid $150 for a basketball league, you know? And yes, they have elsewhere, but especially in Fargo, the highest probably pays like $70.
Right.
But nobody's ever paid like that amount of crazy money. So guys had entrusting me with it was kind of like, you know, like it was hard for them to like understand the level of comp, the level of like what's going into it. At that time, it wasn't a pro-am. I wasn't NCAA certified. I wasn't any of that yet, you know. So
are you?
Not yet.
Oh.
So it's the paperwork's been going on for like the last like 8 months.
I respect
so
it. Yeah.
It's we're gonna get approved officially. Hopefully, it shouldn't be a problem to be approved, but like eventually we'll get approved for it. But like the paperwork that goes into it, just a long, strenuous process that goes into it. So
I'm sure you gotta show like your what's it called?
Your credibility. You have to show your sponsors. Yeah. You gotta show like what's making this, you know, needs to be NCAA certified. Your portfolio, you know. And I just came out of thin air, you know. So it was a long time.
The thing is, like I've heard people be like, "This is what I want to do," but like you're actually doing it though. Yeah. That's why I'm like execution. That's like
yeah, like really? Putting it together and executing it right. Like I had became obsessive with it, but then got into the issues with like team fees, like because I'm not collecting a whole team fee. I'm collecting $150 from a person.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot of money to trust somebody for just, in your mind, a basketball league. I never paid $150 for a basketball league. But in the flyer, it states like, yo, you're gonna get professional jerseys, professional photos. You're gonna get all the top of the line stuff, right? And that's what I made it out. I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make sure it's the top of the line, the best thing, you know, and the highest thing you can go is a pro-am. So I want to make sure because they're the most organized outside of NBA. Unless if I want to compete with the NBA and say I'm gonna make another NBA where I just get so, but I don't have that power yet. So eventually, hopefully one day I can just say, yeah, I want to make another NBA then. So what ends up happening is we start losing a lot of guys. You know, guys who were committed, who got drafted, who showed up on draft night, start pulling out. Guys start pulling out. Teams start slightly dwindling, right? Anyways, I'm just like, you know, a lot of people at that point, you know, because at the end of the day, right, you can do all the stuff and all the magic, right, beforehand. But what a lot of guys didn't realize was this was a real thing. This was gonna happen. This is going down. Nobody, even like my closest friends, like weren't even sure if it was gonna go down.
Damn. No, you good. Keep talking.
Yeah, like that was a what most people didn't realize, right, is I kept it to myself, and I had already spent $6,000 up front. Jerseys, getting everything done, right? Booking the photographers, like, you know, gym, like all this money up front, gym time, reserving it early in advance, and then paying the amount, right? I had already spent $6,000 up front. So now guys are not trusting me yet. And I've never showed anything for my character to be judged. So I don't have no history of stealing. I don't have no history of, you know, doing anybody dirty, you know? And it was like very hard for me to like accept that. Like it really brought me down emotionally, mentally, right? But the thing I really enjoyed about that was it was a great learning experience for me to be able to take that leap into a community leader. You know, you need to be tested. You need to be, you know, if you're truly a leader, right, you need to be able to lead everybody through whether the road doesn't make any sense, you know? And at the time, I couldn't accept I was a community leader. It wasn't something that's like, how you say it, like I imagined, you know,
right.
Something that was just thrown on me. Like I had to like watch my steps. I have to watch everything I do, you know, because I got people looking up to me. So like, as I'm taking the leap to becoming a community leader now, like, you know, when I talk to my big homies and like talk to them and chop it up, you know, they really instilled that in my head. Like, you're a community leader, you know, you're the face and forefront of this, right? If you don't have our back, nobody will. You need to, you know, you're doing this for all of us, right? And that just keeps me just fueled, you know? And like now, seeing how things unfold, right? And as I gradually go through this process of like change and metamorphosis, I come out on top, you know? I'm able to get the show rolling. You know, I had enough people that trusted me, you know, and we finally got that night. So nobody. And one thing that also kind of made it hard was we had to push it a week back. So I wanted to do the media day same night we opened. Everybody shoots photos, shooting throughout the games before. So like everybody, you play at 8:00, come get your photos done at 7. Play at 9, get your photos done at 8. So like all 48 guys. So like actually there was 50 something. So now what ends up happening is, okay, the photographer can't get to town until the following weekend.
Damn.
So I just pushed the date 1 week back. I lost like 10 guys because of that.
Dang. They'll be like, yo, we don't trust you. That's
yes,
crazy.
I lost 10 guys because of that.
Damn.
It was pushed back only a week, and it was a valid reason. Your photographer's not going to be here for another week. So now I had gotten into a situation, right, where somebody, and I had a wait list, a huge wait list, but the 10 guys, those are 10 guys I wanted that were elite. And those are the guys that, so there's a large wait list that still also wants to get in on, and what I'm not thinking of is like there's a lot of college kids that's coming back from, college ball. So I didn't even, tap into that market yet. There's still a lot of amateur hoopers. So now these 10 guys leave, the 10 guys who replace them is like a bunch of solid college players.
Damn.
It wasn't like, it's probably like 3 or 4 college players and then like, another like 6 solid amateur guys that just wanted to get in, that believed in it. So all of this is happening. Everything turns good. So with all the good, there's obviously going to be a bad, So I had like an incident with somebody, and this guy, I really wanted him in the league, and he asked for his fee back, right? I had collected his fee about like a week and a half prior. That Saturday night, he asked for his fee back of the Sunday that we opened. So 24 hours. He has to wait 24 hours.
What?
Yes. So like, and this was like this kind of brought my morale down slightly, It kind of like motivation was kind of like a little bit annoying, He asked for his feedback, right? He's like, yo, this is a scam, yada, 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 dog, like, just give me my money back. So I was like, all right, brother, like, here's your money back. And I was kind of hurt by that, And then the following next day, I set up. I don't even know what I'm doing fully. I don't know what's going on. Set up everybody position, and then get the photographers going, and everybody starts posting on their Snapchat stories, IG stories. Just starts going crazy. Everything starts going crazy. So first night, we had like a crowd of like 20 people come watch the games. They're like, oh, these guys, this is kind of fun, And now what happens is the quality of the games is being looked at now. So guys off the rip, when they see the cameras are out and they're seeing people sitting in the crowd, they're not playing with the same nonchalant that they were playing with in all these rec leagues.
Right.
They're playing with a different level of intensity now.
Right.
Because they're on camera.
It's like they girl there, you feel me?
Yeah, and they girl there. And they're on like I'm talking about, we're getting highlights of these guys if they get cooked, So like once everybody's seen the cameras are out, it was a complete different. Like some of the guys I've seen that don't ever play hard are playing their hardest on the court.
So with that, go to the league off this, right?
Yeah. So and that's what I wanted. That's the spice the cameras added. If there wasn't cameras, nobody would be going as hard as they should because there's no evidence of getting busted or there's no evidence of going off.
Facts.
So fast forward, right? We get the whole show rolling, right? By week, it was a holiday when we started, right? Week 2, everybody's still, still not sure about it yet. And then like week 3, it was 150 people in the building. I couldn't believe it. And all 3 games that night went down to buzzer beaters. So that was like, because like with that many people there, I did like a really good job of promoting it that week because like I got all the clips from those first 2 nights and just started dropping clips and mixtapes and highlights. Everybody's following the page. And then I had dropped a flyer. Everybody starts sharing that flyer. Everybody starts coming out. So it's like 150 people. We fill up the whole thing. And then now, every game goes to a buzzer beater. So now, on a large front, the crowd, they feel this level of intensity of making everybody play hard. The teams were already even, and they were already stacked. So the other team doesn't have an edge. We don't have an edge. And it's gonna go down to the wire. So that's the concept that I really saw that I really wanted to come to fruition. So then we, the show rolls.
I mess with that, bro. I mess with that. So then, what? Okay, keep going. I feel like you got more to say. Keep going. I don't know if you. I was just gonna go off 20.
No, you can go. You can ask me another question for sure.
All right. So Like, where we at now in terms of TJ?
So
like, explain like the season, like how you felt about this season, because you're essentially saying this is the season. This is how you wanted the first season to go.
yeah, so originally, right. And first of all, last year the last year's season was like a success. Like we had hardcore fans. Like every night was lit. It was fun, you know, all the way leading up to the championship game. It was almost like there was a script going on, and that's something I always get accused of. You know, it's just that I know basketball so well to a point now, especially the guys that I've been around. I know a lot of these tendencies, and these tendencies show in big games. It's magnified. So like just like some of the things that was funny last year was like calling games out, you know, and it was funny. And just seeing like, hey, and one thing that nobody expected was the bottom teams upset the top 2 seed, the top 2 teams. So there was upset. So the number 2 seed and the number 1 seed got sent home. They were upset. So the 2 worst teams in the league saw each other in the finals.
Okay, so then how many games did y'all play?
So we played 7, and then it was 3.
Okay. And that was last year.
That was last year.
So this year, how many y'all played?
We played 9, and then we played 3 playoffs.
So then, like, are you gonna keep increasing it, or like, what's the idea?
I want to bring it down even a little more and make it more competitive. Like one of the ideas that I really think about going with is, make the playoffs. So playoffs are gonna be only the top 4 teams make the playoffs. It's a 3-game series between them. So now when I shorten the season and go back down to 7 games. That's what that does is boost the quality of how hard guys are going to be going. Because guys were already going crazy hard this year, but a couple of games you could tell like some of these guys weren't giving it their all, and that's how they lost the games. You know, but if I only
so you're saying like the longer season wasn't really like that helpful, right?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was still competitive. Like once the guys lost a game, they weren't like they weren't affected by losing another game, you know?
Right.
And because they were comfortable, they know that if they go to the playoffs and they load up, they could probably beat some of these teams. So, like, I didn't want guys not caring about the regular season. Right. So now what I want to do is instill, like, hey, 7 games now, every game matters. So bottom 2 teams are out. So what that's going to do, guys are already competing really hard, 9 games already. I just took 2 games off. So the 7 games now, it's going to really make it kind of like a much more competitive.
Okay.
So like now that every game matters.
Okay. Smooth. And I saw you started incorporating like just outsiders too, like some of the girls that be dancing. You feel me? Afro. Yep. Those girls.
I wanted to. Yeah. Last year, that's where I got the idea. So I did it. So last year, the championship game was kind of like what I saw it as. So like the championship game was, it was a full house. It was everybody, that we love in the community came and supported, and one of the even prior leading up to that. So on game 3 it picks up. So the next 4 games are lit, and they just kept getting bigger and bigger, and the crowd just got too out of control for me to control. Like I was like running around every day. I was so like the following Mondays I would be so drained because how much I'm running around.
Man, I'm sure.
Like it was like
back to work, all that stuff.
Like just having to communicate with like so many people. I'm communicating with like well over 100+ people, trying to make sure I'm firing out all cylinders. And it was a lot to control. And that was like when it was smaller. It was like now it was like twice as big. I had no like this year. I literally like thank God I had a way better support system that helped me. But like seeing the championship game was like okay, this is how it should be like, on a normal night,
right.
And the championship game should be 10 times as much. So now I'm being asked like a big question, somebody asked me, yo, this, it's so lit, it's crazy in here. Why aren't you charging at the door? And now that's a great idea, but the thing is people need to understand where you come from, you know, and what the background is.
Right. And it do kind of change the kind of demographic that'll come through the door, you feel me?
Exactly.
So it's like you do have to find a way to kind of supplement that in a way until it's like they are willing to be like, hey, you feel me?
Yeah.
Not saying that like what you're doing, like there's value in what you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like if they see it enough to be like, oh, all right, here, you feel me? So
like one of the main things that I saw on like the second night when it was the third night actually when it got really packed right? After the games, I saw some of the players taking pictures with kids, like little kids, like so happy, like genuinely happy to be there, and like that was my like moment, like that's like seeing like coming out to the hallway, seeing like 8 little kids like huddle around one of my players that I had put in a position to play in front of them, and them looking up. This is a guy who normally plays at a school where you got to pay to get in.
Right.
These kids get to see this kid for free
Right.
on a Sunday night. The parents get to go do whatever they want. All the kids can come watch, and they're so happy to be there with their friends and something to do in the summertime, and seeing that kind of like made me like, solidified and firm in like, who I am, and what I stand for. Because at the end of the day, like, I will never charge because there's no reason to take that away from them. They might not be able to afford those $2. They might not be able to afford that $5, or maybe even that $1. I don't want to take that happiness, that joy, that's that moment in time they get to see somebody they idolize, and in like a human nature. And what I've done now is building the bridge to be a big bro and be able to give back. Like these stadiums get filled up with these players, and these hometown players fill these stadiums up, right? Everybody pays to get in. There's a large portion of players, kids that's missing from these places because they can't afford to get in.
Man.
They can't afford to pay to get in.
Man, what you're doing, like, it'll come back, bro. It'll come back for sure. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure, just like the business mindset, the mindset you're coming at this, like, there's people that, you already got support. You feel me? It'll come back. So that's really good.
Yeah, like, but for me, like, money, it doesn't, like, you could tell, like, since the beginning, money, I've always been well off, and like money has never been an issue for me. Money hasn't been the reason I did this for. You could tell, right, based off like how I even started this up. I had already spent a lot of money up front. A lot of guys ain't spending a lot of money up front for guys to hoop in a vision that they never seen yet, even.
Man, and it's like you're taking a chance too.
Yeah, like and that's one of the main things that's like I want to instill in other people. Like, like one of my students, I was advising him. He's a designer. And I was advising him. He's like, yeah, I love making clothes, and I did this drop, and I sold this, and, I lost a lot of money here and this. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you believe in your vision, right? And then he's like, yeah, man, I love this. I have a passion for this, right? I was like, okay, why don't you charge $700 for a T-shirt?
I mean, yeah, he'd spend less energy looking for somebody to,
Yeah, but that's literally, like, people don't understand, right? Sometimes that something doesn't have value until you put the bar down for the value that it has.
That's fair.
Right? Okay? There's what I was trying to instill in him, right? Is like, oh yeah, they're probably gonna look at you as a fresh new designer, like trying to charge people $700 for a T-shirt. No one's gonna support you. Well, it doesn't matter if no one's gonna support you, right? You think it's worth $700, right? Yes. Then charge $700. You should be able to determine the value of something, right? Like, what's probably the most valuable thing that somebody can have? A car, right?
Right.
It's valuable. It can be a beat up car, right? It's valuable to that person, right?
It's facts.
Right? They probably wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not gonna give this away for $100, right? It could be a beater. So
like, you need it to survive.
That's what I'm saying. So like, if you don't treat that
value is subjective.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't treat that the same, with all the stuff you do, right? Like, the TJ didn't have the value coming in. Nobody saw the vision. I gave it the value by stamping it and making it the values to be what it is now,
Right.
At the end of the day, right, I can just walk away from the TJ. It just crumble, Like, somebody, you could replace me to do you could replace me, right?
With somebody else.
And it would not be the same.
That's right.
You wouldn't, there's certain loyalties, there's certain people that have captured, right? And their belief in me, and even if you replace me, the quality of guys playing wouldn't play as hard.
That's facts. That's facts. And I think that's what it is. That's what differentiates. There's all these businesses. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but it's like how you come at it.
Yeah.
And there's certain qualities that like you have that it's like you can't fake it. You feel me? Like, people take forever to cultivate certain qualities, and it's like you've already done that. That's what you're bringing into this. So it's like people see how genuine you are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's what they're buying into as well.
Yeah.
So,
And I want them to know that, and I want them to understand that, like, hey, I'm not here as somebody who's gonna sell you guys out. We're gonna, trade you guys out for the nearest dollar, and be a sellout. At the end of the day, right? Like, I do come from a poor background, refugee background, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, right, I understand, right, the truth in being yourself. I've always been accepted for who I am, right? There's no reason I'm ever going to change it. There's a lot of deals that I've turned down solely because I didn't want that kind of stuff around. There's a lot of major deals, right, like crazy money, right, that a lot of people would take in a heartbeat. 99%. I'm talking about like crazy money, you know, and I don't think that I need to even sell myself out for it, because the people I'm doing it for is the people I've already set them up. They're well off. They're getting to watch these games for free. They're interacting with all these players. They're coming together, right?
It's deeper than just money.
It's deeper than the money. One of the main things that I saw this year, right? Okay, we had 2 loyal fans. Like they come every Sunday night. They watch all 3 games, right? It was a father and a son, right? This father and son, right? They never missed a beat. They always come on time, right? They're there until the first buzzer goes off, until the last buzzer. They have their little corner, right? And they're just sitting there, you know, and it's like a 9-year-old boy with his dad. So, and we got to know them, and I already know the kid. I already trained him, but like, just seeing his dad and him have that bonding moment together.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about. Seeing that, right, is what I do it for. Like being able to bond with your parents, being able to like, hey, I used to go to the TGA with my dad, the Pro-Am, you know, just being able to like, you know, when that kid grows up, if he, you know, goes far, he can look back and say, wow, the TGA, like, you know, like he had great experiences. Like he's literally like, I'm talking about, you know, the young kid, he's a fan of like, you know, top players, you know, wanting to get a picture with them. And it's just like
going back to that whole big bro thing you were saying too, it was like, bro, there's this kid, you know, I don't know, I forgot his name, but like, bro, he be taking pictures of like, you know, Jeremiah, Sam, and these guys, and he'll post they pic. I'm like, yo, that's cool though. You feel me?
It's nice. That's smooth. It's smooth. Nice, yeah. and that's what I want to give those players, but not in that kind of like, one of the main things that I also like preach is be yourself, right? You can't play school ball. Sometimes you might not be able to have dreads. You got to be a certain clean. You got to, you know, you got to be a certain way, you know. And I don't suppress any of that. Come who as you are, you know. And some people be like, oh, like certain people are gonna come a certain way, you know, like high, drunk, you know. I understand that. Some people people don't know their story. You don't know if that guy struggles with substance abuse, right? Guys that struggle with all these different substance abuses, right? They're using this league sometimes to get away from their problems, right? And I've seen guys get off of these substances just to be a better athlete in the league. I've seen guys drop what they had going on just to be better athlete in the league, right? Now, would it be crazy if I told them, hey, you can't come in here while you're high or drunk, right? I want them to care about it enough to not come there high or drunk, right? And I saw that happen. If I didn't give them that chance, right, and I behaved exactly like how everybody else was behaving, right, chances are they still would have been abusing substances.
Man. It's the expectations that kill us sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
And so, no, I think what you're doing is it's very good. It's very good. I guess, you know, what does the future look like?
So the future looks like expanding. So like, I want to be able to bring in the opposite gender, you know. I know a lot of girls that stop hooping because of COVID.
With the men?
No, they have their own section.
Oh, okay.
It would be funny, but I want to bring in women's, you know. I want to be able to, like I don't want to specifically say this is a platform for the men's only, you know. I care about my women in the community just as much as I care about the men in the community, if not even more. I'm gonna have to look out for them even more. They need a protector. They need somebody, you know, looking out for them, making sure, you know, they're one of the most neglected, you know. So like, I need to make sure, especially female hoopers, right? They're very cut off from the male population of hoopers. You rarely see any girls that come and hoop with guys, and you rarely ever see girls running 5-on-5. You know, so like, I want to use my platform to bring, because I'm already bringing some of the best players in the entire state from every corner. Why couldn't I do that with all the top girls? Maybe there's a girl that's willing to drive 3 hours to come play basketball on Sunday night in front of everybody, you know?
That's facts.
And I want to do that for them. I want to let her know, hey, your dream is not over, you know? You don't have to give up. You know, there's a lot of guys that, you know, that were struggling with mental health, you know, after their seasons ended, that was their last time they get to play. Now they look forward to knowing that they're playing in a top division in the entire state, possibly in the Midwest. I'm pretty sure our top teams can compete with some of the pro-am teams in the cities.
But I'm telling you right now, it's like there's really if you're not in a certain group, there's really nothing going on.
Yeah.
You feel me? There's like nothing happening. And I remember being here and long enough to be like, dang, like what's going on? Like you seeing people like get depressed, all that stuff, and it's like, why is there nothing for us? Like, why is there nothing for us to do anything?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at the end of the day, it's like you can't expect somebody to care about you, right? But it's good that you're taking the effort to create something for people to really enjoy. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I know Kanye, he said something like, you know, it sucks that I'll never get to see myself perform. I don't know if you feel that way sometimes. It's like you'll never get to like really be a part of what you create.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, bro, honestly, like I really appreciate what you're doing too. That's why I had like, you feel me? Like, yo, let's talk. You feel me? All that stuff. But like, what would you tell like an aspiring kid or an aspiring entrepreneur? Like, you know, what would you tell them?
I would say bet on yourself. Like, I would say bet on yourself and take the leap of faith. Like, you know, a lot of people don't want to go pursue their dreams. Like getting laughed at and ridiculed is a real thing. Like, especially, right, like starting the league. None of my friends, closest friends, truly believed in me.
Dang.
Like, physically, if that makes sense. Verbally, yes. You know, you're going to get that whole, yeah, this is lit, bro. I'm proud of you, right? But the work wasn't being done for me.
Man,
you know? Nobody was helping me piece together, like, you know, while I'm going crazy every night, designing jerseys, designing team formats, designing rules. I do all these, like, crazy, like I'm doing the job of 15 people. So, like, you know, you have to understand sometimes is, like, nobody's going to believe in your dream or vision until you show them, like, solidify it in front of everybody. And you can't solidify it by sitting around procrastinating. Like, if you want to go be an artist, right, and you want to paint these expensive murals, right, okay, and they don't have to be big murals, they can be small paintings, right, and you want to charge people $1,000 for this, right, okay, well, what's stopping you from just doing it right there and then? They don't really have I don't have the paintbrushes, I don't have, I don't have the credibility, I don't have enough followers. I'm like, bro, it doesn't really matter. People don't, people don't know some of the biggest artists in the world, right? They don't have an Instagram. The guys is charging $3 million for a painting, okay? Nobody knows about it. They don't have 100,000 followers. They're getting paid $3 million.
That's facts.
For just like a small piece of painting.
That's
Nobody
facts.
even knows them. The word of mouth travels, okay? At the end of the day, right, you got to also know how to market yourself. Sometimes bad publicity, right, the hate, right, that's really good publicity for you. Like, if I come out and say I'm charging $900 for these socks, right, I'm put like a blue little mark on them, right? If you don't have $900, you can't wear them, you know? You have to rock these, only I want people who can afford this can wear it, right? Well, no one's going to buy it for a long time at first. Then you're going to see somebody just say, yeah, I'm going to buy this. $900 stocks,
Right.
Nobody else has $900 stocks, so I'm going to buy this.
That's facts.
Okay? So you're gonna filter out everybody, right? You're gonna see all your closest friends not buy from you. You're gonna, your closest friends actually expect a discount. If you open a restaurant, they expect to eat for free, right? Instead of supporting your business, right? Okay? But to the day that somebody comes around, right, wants to filter, people don't see the filter. The filter is gonna happen, okay? You're probably gonna see, and they're not bad people. Your friends don't necessarily mean they're the ones that's gonna take you to the top and see your vision.
Right.
So they're going to get filtered out until the day that somebody comes that's ready to buy a $900 pair of socks. And I promise you, right, once that person buys it, right, 4 other people are going to probably buy it because that guy has a $900 pair of socks. Why don't I have a $900, And they're just a trickle effect. By the time you see it, right, let's say for a whole year, nobody bought it, right? And in 1 year, 150 people bought it in a month. You waited a whole year. People don't want to wait for their dreams, If your dreams, right, if somebody told you, right, you have a dream of becoming an astronaut, right? But you have to stand outside at the stop sign, right? Every day for 24 hours a day, every second, every minute, every hour, right? There's 60 seconds in a minute, right? You got to stand there, right? There's 60 minutes in an hour, right? You got to stand there. Okay? And they told you got to stand there for 5 years. Okay?
Right.
And then one day somebody was going to come by, right? With an opportunity to help you become an astronaut.
Would you do it?
Would you do it?
That's facts, though.
No, that's the level of grind you need to understand that was going to come with your dream. Especially if it's a dream that you truly have passion about, it would never come easy. It would never come easy. TJA, it didn't matter how passionate I was about it. Everything, right, that could go wrong, went wrong. Like every single day, everything that can go wrong always went wrong, right? And everything that tested me to make sure, right, that if I really care about my dream, you're gonna get attacked psychologically. I was gonna attack, physically. You're gonna be tested financially. You're gonna be tested in every corner, right? You're not gonna love yourself when you're chasing your dream. You're never gonna. When you're chasing your dream and actually taking steps to achieve it, right? You will hate every step of it. But the thing that makes a journey so beautiful, you actually know and felt what every step felt like to get to that point. Mm-hmm. If you had to walk through a blizzard right now, 10 feet of snow, and by the time you get to the house, you're drenched in sweat and you're dying, right? You knew how many steps it took to get to the front door, right?
That's facts. So you gonna remember. I still remember. Shoot.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Damn. But hey, bro, really appreciate the interview. You feel me?
Thank you.
I guess we can cut it from there, but
yeah,
really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to say? Anybody want to shout out?
I want to thank all the people that made the league possible. I want to thank all the scoreboard people, all the referees, especially the referees are crucial backbone. Them being able to come every Sunday night and helping me. The people who do videography, the fans who loved us and cheered us on every step of the way. Overall, like all the people who had made it so much easier for me this year 2 was crazy. It couldn't even, words can't even describe how grateful I am for the opportunity to be the guy you guys chose to be the forefront of who represents your community, to be able to showcase you guys. That really is one of the biggest blessings that, words can't even describe. It's still something that's surreal to me every single day that I can't even believe when I wake up. Everybody's, is always telling me, even the season just ended 4 days ago and guys are already saying, I'm so excited for next year. Just being able to hear that really makes me want to grind even more and push myself even further to really make you guys proud. But, there's no fun in, in chatting all night. I want to make sure.
No, listen, it's been a privilege to actually sit down and just like I said, I want to sit down with people doing unique things just to hear how they mind work. And it's it's always a privilege. You feel me?
Thank you so
much. It's always
much.
Motivating. And I'm sure when the audience sees this too, they be like, yo, you feel me? What is going on? How do I tap in? You feel me? So it's yeah, bro, you doing good work, bro.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bro, we'll cut it from here, bro. But hey, you feel me? Really appreciate you, boss.
Appreciate it.
You feel me? Yeah, really appreciate you, bro. But